Round two wasn't a good round to be a South African team. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. Okay, so this is going to be a short one today because I'm trying to get some information from the official website just to go into a bit more detail, but it's not really how working. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go down through the results very briefly, and I do mean briefly this time. Talk about those results and then look at the pools. So going to start with the Friday games. Sale Sharks 29, Racing 92-7. So Racing started so well first round against Quins, and then just came a cropper really, or it didn't really work for him against Sale Sharks, and Sale themselves bouncing back from that defeat against Glasgow, with a bonus point win there too. So decent win for them. Racing again, you wonder how much progress they've made. If we get into the knockout stages, they might be okay, but still not really, being a threat at the moment, at least in this competition. Next, then we have Castres Olympique 16, Munster 14. Full review of this on the channel if you want a lot more detail on it. But Castres took the lead in the first half, looking pretty good. Munster responded. I think Kendlin got 2 tries, right? One before half time, one in the second half. Actually, briefly got the noses in front as well, 14-13, but couldn't bring it home. Castres landed a penalty, and then Munster couldn't produce another chance. I think again, like the Munster, that won the URC, that form that they had probably would have won this game. But the current Munster side, a little bit down on that. You can see that there are, some improvements to them. Still kind of in a lot of flux though, with all the upheaval they have, with coaches leaving, etc. So, if they can get themselves out of, they should get themselves out of the pool. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but it's a case of how far can they actually go. And it already looks like, if they want to really go deep into the competition, they're going to have to produce at least one away win in the knockout stages. On to the Saturday games then. So we have Vodacom Bulls 21, Northampton Saints 30. So Bulls actually picked a decent side for this, but Northampton really turned up in this game as well. Bulls with a few errors that they'd certainly like to take back. Another game where I have a full review up on the channel as well. So the Bulls certainly, in terms of performance, the best of the South African sides this week. But Saints were just had too much of them, and a really good win for Saints as well to go down there against a very strong Bulls team and pull off that win. And it just shows, in this competition at least, they stand out compared to a lot of the other English sides. So decent win for them. Bulls, it's now 2 defeats for them in the competition, and you wonder, what they're going to do now for the rest of the pool stages in January, especially when you look at what the other 2 South African teams did this weekend on their travels. Next, then we have Ulster 19, Bordeaux Begla 40. So Ulster, they were looking competitive at times, but only at times. But Bordeaux just look, a step above, or more than a step above them. They got their pack going well, but those backs, like just so many, BLBRE, Deporter, what's the other winger's name? But and then like Pernod as well, obviously. But the guy that was playing on the other wing as well actually had a good game too. But some real talent in there in that team. And when they turned it on, like Ulster just couldn't live with them. Ulster, for their part, there are kind of, I'd say, signs of potential is the way I'd look at it. Is like the centre combination of McCluskey and Postlethwaite actually looks decent. It still needs time to grow, I think. Then was a Zach Ward was on the wing as well. He looked decent there too. You had Izuchukwu. I thought as well. Henderson had probably his best game for Ulster in a long time, and certainly much improved from that shellacking that got against Toulouse, but still just not up to the standard at this level for them. And potential doesn't really win too much at this level, but it's good signs I think for Ulster for next year, as long as they can keep developing from there. They're kind of getting a lesson this year about the standard that's needed, and they're not there yet. But Bordeaux looking really, really good. Another kind of strong performance in the pools again this year for them. And when you think about it, like they were really good in the pools last year, and then got into knockout stages and not so good. So hopefully they're going to learn from that, because they're an exciting team, and we would like to kind of see them progressing in the competition. But there's a full review again of this on the channel if you want to go check it out. Another one with a full review is Leinster 15, Clermont Auvergne 7. So two kind of old foes in this competition, and not really a classic game. Certainly wouldn't I wouldn't be watching the full replay of this one if you haven't seen it yet. Neither team really getting up there through the gears. Leinster just did enough to win, but first time since I think 2017 they haven't got a 5-point win at home. So that's, I guess, credit to Clermont for that. But Leinster, not really firing, and they have a lot of players who they've been around in terms of being in the URC team, but are now transitioning into the Champions Cup team, and it seems like it's taken a while for those players to settle in there. And you would expect in January that they'll have gotten things a little bit ironed out a little bit more, but they have that big game coming up away to La Rochelle. That was the key to winning the pool last year, and that's going to already looks like the pool decider between those two. But as I said, full review on the channel if you want to go check it out for that one. Then next we have Leicester Tigers 56, Hollywood Bet Sharks 17. So Sharks, they had a few players injured, but also chose to rest a bunch of players as well for this, and they got the result that deserved. I'm glad that Leicester put a big score on them, because if you're changing that many players in this competition, it really is what you deserve. I think we've seen teams do it in the past, whether French or English, and sometimes some other URC teams as well. But we're seeing that at the moment the South Africans are getting a bit of stick for it, but they're not the only teams that it's not the first time it's ever happened in this competition, all the way back to the Heineken Cup that everybody kind of romanticizes. It was still happening back then as well. Especially French teams traveling away. But Leicester, it's hard to read a lot into the result, but still it's a big win for Leicester, and it's that confidence to get from that. It won't matter in terms of if that boosts them to get them a better finishing position in the pool. It won't matter that Sharks played a weakened side, because still for them they're going to feel confident through the rest of the pool stages. Then we got La Rochelle 35, Bristol Bears 7. So Bristol, second in the Premiership, but just getting destroyed 2 weeks in a row. La Rochelle looked pretty good in that game, and kind of just strolled to that bonus point win as well. And again, that's going to be a big showdown between themselves and Leinster. I'd say in terms of the pool, you have to now, like I would have said beforehand, Leinster would have been the favourites for the pool, but you got to put La Rochelle, on that footing at the moment, because they're certainly playing the better rugby of the two. handling their opposition, with more ease, I would say. Although, away from home against Bath, it was a bit close, but still, they've beaten the top two teams now in the Premiership to start with, and you look at the rest of the pool games, and it really is only that game against Leinster, I think, that they have to worry about, and the fact that they have home advantage for that as well. Probably, you've got to make them favourites, I think, going into that. Next, then we have Harlequins 53, DHL Stormers 16. So Quins, again, didn't look all that great against Racing 92 in the opening round. Looked a bit off the pace, honestly. But Stormers decided to pick a weakened team, and they got punished for it. And again, I think it's deserved for them. And again, it's hard to read into the result from a Quins point of view, but you look at it, it's a bonus point win. It's a healthy it's a healthy points difference boost up for them as well. And again, any confidence they get from this, that helps them through the rest of the pool. It doesn't matter what team Stormers played then. Stormers then backs definitely against the wall, and again you worry about how they're going to treat their last two pool games, and then those who are in the pool with them, especially on top with kind of the two South African teams that played weak inside themselves and the Sharks. You wonder then, like the other URC teams in those pools, how they feel about that, because obviously those URC teams don't get to play these guys, so don't get the advantage of playing a weakened team. But yeah, kind of interesting the way they did it. I can see the argument about it's difficult for them coming up just for one game, and it could be tied in where they come up maybe for a couple of URC games and then a European game, and then maybe went home and had a Champions Cup game, and then into the kind of local derbies over the festive period. Then in January again, come back up to Europe, or maybe like have a home game, then come back up to Europe and in the fourth round, and then have a couple of URC games after that as well, so that it's all kind of tied together, so that they're not kind of just coming up for one game, because it's got to be difficult. But at the same time, any European team that has to go down to South Africa will only be going down for one game, because you're not going to be in a pool against two South African teams, so it works both ways as well. And Northampton Saints could have taken the same could have taken the same kind of decision and decided, well, we'll just send a weakened team down to Bulls, and if we lose, we lose. We'll just concentrate on our home games. But they didn't do that as well. So I can see both sides of the argument there. But again, the fact that they put out a weakened side, I think they deserved the result that they got, and that goes for any team. It's not, again, I'm not talking just against South African teams. Just any team that puts out a weakened side, I feel they always deserve to get a bit of a hiding, and it's happened to many a team down through the years as well. Next, then, a bit more of or a bit of good news, should I say, for the URC teams, because it was not a good weekend to be a URC team. But Benetton 22, Bath Rugby 21. Benetton, we talked about them. They've been in very poor form this season, especially when you compare it to last season, and kind of since they won the Rainbow Cup, really the trajectory that they've been on, and then this season felt like they've kind of fallen away in a major way. So to see them pulling off a win against Bath, even if it was a tight one, that's got to boost their confidence as well. And Bath themselves, then they've lost 2 from 2, albeit both with losing bonus points. but still, they want to get a win. Somewhere on the board in January. They're like currently Premiership leaders, and but at the moment, like they're down there towards the bottom of the table themselves in Bristol. But we'll have a look at the pool a bit in a while. Sorry. Next, then we have Stade Francais 17, Saracens 28. So, Stade still, like, you look at them, they kind of imploded against Munster, and they didn't do themselves any favours in this one either. And Saracens doing a good job there to get the bonus point win. And they're a team like that. Again, we look at them in recent years and we think they've fallen down from that kind of the super elite level in Europe, where you've only got like 3 or 4 teams who are really up there as kind of big favourites for this competition. But like Saracens are just kind of quietly going about their stuff, picking up bonus point wins, and could be a bit of a dark horse when we get into the knockout stages as well. Because I'm sure even if they finish, maybe finish their pool on top, it's still a lot of teams would probably be writing them off for knockout stages. But even if they finish in the top 2 in the pool, it would be a decent result for them. And they are a team who, if they need to, maybe in a quarterfinal or a semi-final, could go away from home and potentially pick up a win. There aren't that many teams. Obviously any team on the day can produce a result like that, but there aren't that many teams that you look at them and you think, okay, well, they genuinely could go almost anywhere and potentially pick up a result. Next time we have RC Toulon 30, Glasgow Warriors 29. I actually watched a lot of this. Like, I watched from the point where I think Glasgow had just conceded and they got a yellow card, and then Glasgow started kind of coming back into the game. So like, Toulon looked good kind of at the start, Glasgow kind of chipping away, staying in there, and then a bit of a comeback towards the end. Couldn't quite pull off a win, but Toulon were trying to deny them any kind of points from the game, and Glasgow were able to come back and get that score towards the end. So well done to them. And that's something really with this Glasgow team over the last few years, is that they have that ability to stick in the game and stick in the contest, even when the other team kind of have their tails up. And that kind of makes it so that they're more they're more likely to progress, I think, in the knockout stages, just because they have that ability. At least they're going to give themselves a chance in games, and not kind of, we see a lot of teams who kind of come out of the pool stages to go into the knockout stages and you just get absolutely, blown away by their opposition. Glasgow, they've got that, as I said, that ability just to stick in there. Doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to win the game, but at least they're going to give themselves a chance to do it. Next then, talking about being blown away, Exeter Chiefs 21, Toulouse 64. So Toulouse scoring like 125 points, 19 tries in the first 2 rounds, and themselves and Bordeaux really are the form teams at the moment of the pool stages. And Exeter again, another heavy defeat for them. They did kind of turn over pretty much their entire squad last season, and again we talked about it, like it didn't seem to have that much of an effect on them last season, but this season I think they're seeing the fruits of that now coming home to roost for them. And yeah, like Toulouse just look unstoppable. We always talk about Dupont, but just the entire team seem to be in a really good place for them at the moment. And yeah, really just going out there, they have that ability as well. And there are not many teams in, you have to be at a certain level to be able to just keep your foot on the throat. And they scored 5 tries in the first half, then they did the same in the second half as well. They didn't kind of let Exeter come back a little bit, maybe get like a try bonus point and make the score look a bit more respectable. If it had been 40 odd to 28, it doesn't look that bad for Exeter, but Stade, no, or Toulouse, sorry, just not willing to give a sucker any kind of chance at all in that game, and yeah, just absolutely kept pressing on and kept getting those scores. Let me pull up let's have a look at the pools now. And we start with Pool 1 with Toulouse in there and Bordeaux. Like, as I said, the two, for my money, the two form teams of the pool stages so far. Obviously, only one of them is going to win the pool. But they both could end up with maximum 20 points as well, because they're not going to play each other. But Toulouse there at the top, 83, plus 83 is a massive points difference for them. And then 19 tries, like Bordeaux, as I said, in fantastic form with 12 tries, which is pretty special, but still, 7 tries down on Toulouse. Leicester Tigers there then, 12 tries themselves, but 1 win and 1 loss for them so far. And the Sharks as well, 1 win, 1 loss on 5 points. Exeter there, 2 defeats and 0 points, and only the fact that Ulster have been dire as well, although the two of them are on the same points difference. 2 defeats for Ulster as well. And looking at it, really, you would expect it to be very similar to that. I think come the end, like Toulouse and Bordeaux at the top, Tigers and Sharks look like the two who are going to qualify, and Exeter and Ulster looking pretty hapless, and it'd take a big turnaround for either of those to qualify. Obviously, you're looking at it, you think, well, they only need to to pick up a win, get a bit of momentum, and get what they need out of the last game to maybe pip somebody into that 4th spot. But at the minute, we have to judge it the way things are now. When it comes to after round 3, we might change our mind. But at the moment, that's how I feel about that. On to Pool 2 then. We've got La Rochelle leading the way there. 2 wins out of 2, 8 tries, 32 plus 32 points difference, and 9 points. And Leinster just behind them there, 7 tries plus 31 and 9 points as well. Again, the clash between them already looks like it's going to be the decider for the pool. Clermont Auvergne in 3rd place there on 5 points, and team I'd love to see progressing just because of kind of nostalgia, really. And then Benetton doing really well, because I said at the start that I felt like Benetton probably wouldn't make the knockout stages. At the moment, they're in those places. They know they need another win at least to get through. Probably another win would get them through, but just to be sure, they probably have to get a win and pick up something on the road as well. And then we have Bath on 2 points there, 2 defeats, but they have both been with losing bonus points. And then Bristol, who have been very poor, but at the same time, had to face the 2 big guns in the pool already. So for them, Benetton and Clermont certainly should be easier opponents. Not easy, but easier opponents than the ones they faced already. So they might be able to, rescue themselves from there as well. So it feels like the top of the table, like the top 2 are kind of locked in. And then the rest then, round 3, I think will give us a clearer picture of how the rest of the pool is going to shake out there. On to Pool 3 then. Northampton Saints leading the way there. 2 from 2. Full, maximum 10 points there. 10 tries as well. Then Saracens in 2nd place, 2 from 2 from them as well. Being able to do it at home and on the road is a big thing in this competition in terms of getting one of those top seeded spots. Didn't quite get bonus point in both of the games though, so they are just behind Northampton there. Then Munster they had a potential at least to win that other game. Didn't quite happen for them. They have one win, but now they're facing in to kind of the January games, being against the top two Northampton Saints, who beat them home and away last year. Once in the pool in Thomond Park and once away, in their home spot, like away from Munster, in the knockout stage as well. And then they've got Saracens as well there too. So a bit of a tough task for Munster, but if you want to progress in this competition, you have to at some stage pull out results against top teams. Then Castres Olympique, they're down in fourth, so they have the one win themselves there too. And it's weird with them because they take a series at home and they don't take a series away. So you could see them finishing 2-2 in this, and the fact that they only got 4 points so far means that they might actually miss out. Like somebody might pip them on 9 points or something to qualify. So it'll be interesting to see how they go for the rest. The Bulls then, they seem to take the competition a little bit more seriously than they did last year, and than their other two fellow South African teams did in this round. But still, it didn't really pay off for them. Still on 0 match points so far out of this, and it's doable in terms of getting out of the pool. It's doable for any team at the moment to get out of their pool, but whether they can do it or not is another thing. Same with Stade Francais there at the bottom. I could definitely see them maybe just turning their focus now to the top 14, and that could be for the teams that have to play them so it's the Bulls still have to play them, and I'm just trying to think who else. It's Northampton Saints, I think. So they both of them might get fairly easy games, and then on to Pool 4 then, which I said at the start was probably the most unpredictable pool, and it's shaping up to be that way as well. We got like just one team on 2 wins, and that's Toulon. And that was a very close game as well with the Warriors. Could have easily have been Warriors on 2 wins instead. But they come out on top. They've got 6 tries so far. So to have 2 wins and only 6 tries scored is pretty good. Speaks a lot, I think, to their defense. Being pretty solid. And then on 8 points altogether, Glasgow then 1 point behind on 7 with 10 tries and a plus 18 points difference for them. 2 try bonus points and a losing bonus point as well. Help them kind of stay in touch there. Then in third place we have Harlequins. 1 win, 1 loss. 10 tries for them as well, but not shaping out too well in terms of just a 1 try bonus point, because again they were pretty dire against Racing in the first game. 5 points for them. Sale Sharks then, another team that kind of turned around from the first round, having lost to Glasgow, but then that weakened Stormers side really helped them out there. Got a try bonus point as well, so 5 points for them. Then Racing, who looked in a decent position after the first round with that win, and a fairly comfortable win over Harlequins as well, find themselves down in 5th place on 4 points, but still definitely in the mix there. And then Stormers, the team really with it all to do, two defeats so far and no match points either. So they know they're the one, in this pool, the one team that round 3 they have to win. If they can't pull that off, you can't see any route for them really into the knockout stages if they can't do that. So those are our pools. We went through the results as well. Apologies I couldn't go into more detail on the games. I really wanted to. But having said that, there are full reviews of 4 of the matches from the weekend as well on the channel. So you want to go check those out, do that. As I said, that's the end of this one. We're going to be back with URC stuff. So we're going to do a preview probably on Thursday of the weekend's URC action. In terms of this here, let me know your thoughts down in the comments.